the news about the redundancies at the club. I'm sure you're aware there was some criticism that the club's going to still invest in the team while doing that. I just wondered if you understood that criticism and what your response to that would be.
Well, that I understand. You're only looking at the financial point of view. You can get some contradictory messages, but what is very clear that the club had a very thorough plan of how they need to restructure our club in order to function better and be more stable for the future. And they were very convincing with every argument that they give to all of us that it was the right thing to do. Obviously, it's really sad, and it was during the COVID period when we had to make the decision to get our players to contribute to the pay cuts. One of the reasons was to maintain some of them as well. But we've been trying to do the right thing, and the club is trying to protect the future of our club as much as possible.
Yeah, you mentioned the pay cut thing there, and we know, as you say, that the players had that in their minds when they took the pay cuts, and the staff and the executives too. Have you had a chat with any of the players about that? Have any of them expressed their concerns or why that might be the case, that those redundancies still happen?
But the players were happy to contribute to help the club in this difficult financial position. And that doesn't mean that after you're going to have a say in every decision made by the club. It cannot work like that. At the end of the day, it wasn't an obligation. It was a choice whether you wanted to do it or not. And we try to do the right thing as human beings to try to help a club that has been supporting us, in my case, for many, many years, and in more of the cases here as well, whether you were injured, sick, performing or not performing. And we believe that it was the right thing to do. And then the club has to be free to try to fight for the future in the most positive and stable way. And that's how we do it.
One of the changes as well about the structure was obviously Raul leaving. I wonder how that affects your role in particular in recruitment and transfers with Edu and with Huss.
Well, it's something that we are discussing at the moment. First of all, I want to wish Raul all the best, all my respect and admiration, because I work with him and alongside him, and I enjoy working with him. The club made a decision, a very difficult decision as well. But the way he left the club, I think he honored them. I think everybody had nice words towards him. And now we have to figure out what's the best way to run our football club in the sporting side. And that's what we are trying to do, while we are trying to achieve as well all the targets that we have for this transfer market.
Obviously, when Unai came in after Arsene left, he was very much the head coach, and he had a voice in recruitment, but he was still the head coach. It seems that your role is more going back to a managerial role. Is that a fair reading of events?
Again, I don't know what's going to happen. It's things that we are discussing internally at the club, and we want to try the best way to be as efficient as possible, maximize the people that we had at our club to make the things the right way, and we'll finalize those talks and communicate to you guys how we're going to do it.
And just finally for me, there have already been quite a lot of investments this summer. Cedric, Mari, Willian, Saka's new contract, Martinelli's new contract, and obviously 2 more coming in hopefully quite soon. How are you going to pay for all this? And do players need to leave for it to work financially?
Well, we need the right balance. Obviously, we had some obligation that they were acquired before and months ago, and we know that we have some obligations in the near future that we have to accomplish as well, with some renewals that we have to make. So that's all plan of our financial plan that has to be fit in our financial fair play, and the club is very aware of that. So we just try to make the decision knowing what we need to do in order to achieve that.
But is it quite a hard market to sell, particularly with wages and those sorts of things?
Well, it is slow, but as well for some profile players is moving pretty fast, and you don't see a lot of lost value in those. So I don't know. We will have to wait and see. It's still very early stages, I think.
Thank you. Cheers.
Listen, I was just going to take you back to Willian's very optimistic and very positive message when he signed, really, and also you said there you can guarantee that you'll challenge for the top 100% this season. What gives you that confidence, Mikel, that basically, you know, this season is going to be a very different one Is it because it's now feels like a bit more like your team, your authority on the squad?
I don't know how different it's going to do. When I can assure you that my aim is only the top. I don't see anything different. Where we're going to reach, our preparation, our quality, our bit of luck, and our momentum, how strong we are as a club, we will dictate that, you know. But our opponents as well. But our aim has to be all the time to be the best, and if not the best as we could be. With the circumstances and the context that we have, and let's see what we are capable of doing. But I don't want to take anything less than that.
I think you touched on it last season. You know, it did take Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp time to build, doesn't it? It takes time to kind of reach the level where you need to be. I guess this summer is very, very important to bring in the players you want, to kind of, you know, manage the squad how you want for this coming season in that process.
Absolutely, it's key. At the end of the day, our future depends on what we are able to produce on the field, and that's related to the squad and the staff and the people managing at the top of the club that we have. The rest are bricks and walls. You know, it's our people, it's our fans, and how much we are able to produce on that pitch to compete and make the gap, as we always mention, with the top teams as close as possible. And the more good decision that we make, the quicker that process is going to be.
How important is it for the club, do you think, to get back into the Champions League to show that you belong among Europe's elite?
Well, it's fundamental for our future to this club come back and plays in Champions League every season. And we know how difficult it is in the Premier League at the moment with the teams that we have around us. And that's what I'm saying. Again, I reiterate, we have to make a lot of good decision, put a lot of good work together, and make sure that we maximize all our resources in and off the field to try to achieve that.
Sure. Can I just take you back to the goalkeepers? You know, what we saw from last season was Burn, you know, up until he got injured, was arguably Arsenal's player of the season. You know, many would make a case for that. And then Emi, the way that he finished the season was just remarkable, wasn't it? Do you think you've got the best two as a two in the Premier League, and how good is that competition?
Well, I don't know. You compare them before. I don't know if they were the two. What I know, as they complement each other really, really well. That Iñaki, our goalkeeping coach, and Sal last year, they did a really good job to improve them and get them playing the way we want. And it's a nice problem to have for the coach to have two goalkeepers at that level.
I think what you're saying is that they basically both start on a level, don't they? I mean, it was pretty obvious that at the start of last season, Bernd was the number one, but do they start at a level now, level pegging?
Well, the circumstances changed. Obviously, Bernd got a really bad injury, and Emi had to step in. He was really patient, but all the time working really, really hard. And he got rewarded, and the team got rewarded because he was very consistent on his preparation all the time and the amount of work that he was putting in. So he was pivotal for our win in the FA Cup as well with his performances, and we value that.
Can I just ask you finally about the quarantine? Are you missing players this weekend because of the quarantine rather than positive tests? And how much of a difficult, you know, across the board, that's going to be difficult, I think, for the Premier League and managers like yourself across the board, isn't it?
Well, it's a very challenging period for all of us, obviously having to go away and come back in such a short space of time with the positive tests. As well, we don't even know what's going to happen next week when they go to internationals, because depending where they go, are they clear to come back because the international, they're not clear. We have some uncertainties here that they need to be resolved, and we are trying to make the right thing and move forward with whatever the decision is.
Is anyone actually missing this weekend because of quarantine? I mean, I'm not saying names specifically, but
we have some different programs for some of them as well, with some of the issues that we finished last year. So it will be difficult for all of the players to be available for the weekend.
Mikel, thanks very much. Good luck Saturday.